Because the thing that I want you to remember, just because we start off a round poorly, or just because we have a poor stretch in the middle of the round, that doesn't mean that that's the way the rest of the round is going to go. We can definitely turn it around. We can definitely make adjustments. And a lot of that has to do with watching what that ball is doing on a shot that we don't like and starting to reverse engineer what technical mistake did I make there to cause that to happen. Hey there, welcome to episode 19 of the Golf Never Sleeps podcast. I'm your coach, Ryan Roblard, and on this podcast, I like to dive into a variety of topics with the ultimate goal of helping you play better golf and practice more effectively. Today's episode is going to be around analyzing a golf shot. And this is coming from a few different directions. This is coming from things that I see on the driving range as a coach, or just on the driving range as someone making a general observation, but also as someone who plays golf and a coach on the golf course, and watching my players and watching people that aren't my players, and even watching myself and the way that we process our golf shots, and some opportunities that we can highlight to help us play better golf. So let's dive into it. When I see a player hit a shot on the golf course, usually it is sometimes an uncommitted decision or an undefined decision, followed up by maybe a little bit of lack of intent and then an overreaction based on the result. And maybe the classic example is when I see a player get set up to a golf shot and they stand over the golf ball for way too long and they hit a shot, and before the ball is even halfway to their target, they've already lost their balance, they don't hold their finish, and they're complaining about something that went wrong with that golf shot. The thing I really want to highlight here is in every golf shot that we hit, there's a little bit of a reflection period. And normally that is when we are in our finish position, we're watching that golf ball fly. And like the term reflection period might make it sound like it's a really big thing, but I honestly think it is. When we hit a shot, whether we like it or not, if we don't watch that entire ball flight, we are missing an opportunity to essentially reverse engineer what we think happened, because quickly our mind shifts to us losing our balance, us complaining, or saying something negative, usually something negative, instead of hitting a golf shot, and regardless where that golf shot goes, as that ball is flying, going through a process of asking ourselves, what do I think happened there? Why did the ball start in that direction? Why is it going in that direction? It might be exactly where you want it to go, or it might not be. But I think that there's a little bit of a reflection period that is required a bit more often when we hit our shots. Where this is coming from specifically for me is I played around a golf recently with a player, and very early on it was clear that they weren't having that good of a day. After a couple of holes, whether they were in a bad mood or whatever it was, they weren't having a good day. And literally after every single shot, the ball maybe wasn't 20 yards in front of them. And when it was going in a different direction, they would just go, what the heck happened there? And they would constantly say, well, what happened there? What happened there? They would like constantly make that proclamation or that statement out loud as they were holding their balance or trying to hold their balance, and essentially freaking out on every shot. They'd rush to the ball, they'd hit a shot, it'd go crooked. What the heck happened there? And this would happen over and over and over again. And it kind of got me thinking, that happens to a lot of players. And whether it's someone who's taking golf lessons or not, it happens far too often. So like, all right, what's the change that we could make? Or what is the different system that we could go through that would help us work through these problems, because we know that they're going to happen, and maybe make a shift towards how do we take that post-shot couple of moments there, and again, whether they're positive or negative, but use them in a way that can hopefully help us make positive strides going into that next shot. So I believe what often happens is when we hit a shot that we don't like, I don't think players spend enough time giving themselves specific instructions on what they're trying to do with their golf swing, where they want the ball to start, and maybe where they want it to finish, but also what they hope to get as feedback as they're in that finished position. Hey, I hope you're enjoying this podcast episode. If you are, I have a favor to ask. If you're watching on YouTube, please make sure that you subscribe to this channel, like this video, and make sure you hit that bell to make sure you get notified on when a new episode drops. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you listen to your podcasts, please make sure you subscribe there as well. But if you could leave me a rating, wherever you're listening or watching, if you do those things for me, it really helps the podcast grow and also motivates me to put out more content. And as always, on any platform, if you ever have any questions, please reach out, let me know. I answered every comment. Now let's get you back to your episode. So let's go back to the very start of that golf shot. If we want to hit a quality shot, we got to make a quality decision. So I'm going to use some round numbers here for the sake of the example. But let's say that I'm 150 yards away to the middle of the green. Okay? And there's no wind, there's no elevation. It's 150 yards. And for me, that number, normally my 9-iron will carry, let's say, roughly 148 yards. So I'm very content. That's like a great number for me. And I'm playing a little bit of a draw. So I've decided in my mind, I know the yardage, I know the club I'm going to hit, and I know the curve that I expect the shot to have. So now I pick my aiming point. And let's say I'm aiming 25 feet to the right of the target. So my pre-shot is done. I've got my yardage. I got my club. I believe that this is going to land a little bit short of the hole, and I've got my aiming point. Now I have something to base my post-shot process off of. So let's say I get up there, I have a perfect visual, I have a perfect feel, and I hit that shot. And as soon as I hit that shot, that ball has started left of my target and is curving left into a left bunker. Oftentimes players will obviously be upset. They'll complain, what the heck happened there? My ball ended up in the bunker. Instead, I'm in my finished position. I'm watching that ball fly. And as I'm watching that ball fly, I'm going through, okay, what do I think happened there? And this might sound very simple, but for so many people, it's something that they miss and they never react to. My club face was closed. Right, regardless where my target was there, my club face was closed. And that caused me to miss my shot in that left side bunker. Now that I've taken the time to watch that and actually go through and say, okay, my club face was closed there. When I go into that next shot, let's say whatever happens, let's miraculous up and down, I make par. I go to the next shot, and the next shot is a par 5. And again, I go through my entire process. I have a great aiming point, and I hit it left of my target again. Normally, a player will just complain, what the heck happened there? And they might start to adjust their aim or different things like that. But instead, let's try to reverse engineer what actually happened. Okay, that's 2 swings in a row that I've told myself that my club face is pretty closed. Because I took that time to make that acknowledgement, when I go find my second shot on that par 5, in my rehearsal swings, I'm going to be a little bit more aware, and I'm going to remind myself as I go through my routine, is there something in my routine that's a little bit off? Or is there something that I'm missing? So let's say I've hit it in the trees and I've got to punch out. So I hit a little Coach Ryan punch out. And now I get to that third shot. And as I go through my routine, like my normal practice swings, I decide to maybe just take a look at where my club is in the takeaway. And I look and, wow, that club face seems a lot more closed than it normally is. My right hand feels like it's really on top. Okay, well, that kind of makes sense with the fact that I've been missing it left. So I'm going through my normal process, but just bring some awareness. Let's make sure we don't take that club face closed or take it back closed in the takeaway. I hit my third shot, bang. Acceptable shot, right on target. Very happy with the result. This process for some of you seems so simple and so obvious, but it's something that we miss. When we start to hit bad shots, all we do is complain and rush our process and don't make dedicated or committed decisions. Instead of, I've hit a bad shot, that's fine. What do I actually think happened there? For someone who plays a slice, right, who misses to the right all the time, a very easy assumption for them could be that either their club path is coming really over the top or their club face is really open. But instead of constantly overreacting at the result, they're taking away that little reflection period, that little post-shot opportunity to watch that ball fly and go, oh, yeah, that really felt like I came over the top there. And instead of just making the same mistake over again and over again, we have a post-shot routine that might actually make a positive change on our pre-shot routine. If Mr. Jones just keeps missing it out to the right over and over, and instead of freaking out, they say, you know, I've been working on this move that has been trying to help me get that club a little bit more from the inside. I'm going to really emphasize that rehearsal swing on this next shot. And that could help them progress and maybe start to get that ball to curve a little bit less. Because the thing that I want you to remember, just because we start off around poorly, or just because we have a poor stretch in the middle of the round, that doesn't mean that that's the way the rest of the round is going to go. We can definitely turn it around. We can definitely make adjustments. And a lot of that has to do with watching what that ball is doing on a shot that we don't like and starting to reverse engineer what technical mistake did I make there to cause that to happen. Oftentimes I'll hear players give me my tempo was too fast. I always kind of laugh at that one a lot of times because I think it's a cop-out. But even in that scenario, even if it is your tempo that felt too fast, you have to make an adjustment. Okay, if your tempo was too fast because that's what you believe the cause is, we better see some rehearsal swings that have a lot smoother takeaway. Or we better actually see a conscious change in your next golf swing with that tempo slowing down. Let's use this post-shot process to, instead of using it as a negative and complaining about the outcome, let's reverse engineer what we think the root cause was, what the change should be in our pre-shot routine, and then execute that on the next shot. Now, for some of you, if everything that I've said, you're like, well, I don't have a pre-shot routine or a post-shot routine. I don't have any of those. If you think of the way you practice, this is very, very, very similar when we're on the driving range. When a player will just rake over a ball and hit it, rake over a ball and hit it. The joke that I say is like it feels like they have 3 or 4 balls in the air at the exact same time. That's how quickly they're hitting them. We have to look at that as a possible opportunity as well when we're practicing on the driving range and we're hitting shots, whether it's going good or bad. As we're watching that golf ball fly, we're asking ourselves, why is the golf ball going there? What did I do properly? What did I do wrong? But what is like the one thing that I can take away as I'm watching this golf ball fly to carry into the next shot? Whether it be a positive or a negative. Don't just throw balls out there because then it becomes more than exercise. But let's watch that golf shot. And if we start to make that change in practice, I believe we can start to make that change in play with the end goal of helping us hit better golf shots. So those are my thoughts on what we'll call a post-shot routine, and most specifically that moment of reflection. Don't let that moment of reflection go by, especially if you're unhappy with the way that you're hitting shots. Use that moment to grab that ball flight or try to assess what has actually happened so that you can make a positive change to your next shot, so you get off of the path of just hitting bad shot after bad shot after bad shot. Use a post-shot routine to help make your next shot a little bit better. That's it. That's my thoughts. This has been episode 19 of the Golf Never Sleeps podcast. Thank you for watching. Happy golfing.